Hey everybody, Casey here with Life Abstract Gaming, and after several movies that have ranged in quality, the DC Extended Universe has finally released their big superhero team-up movie, Justice League.
They said the age of heroes would never come again.
It has to. About you. Didn't think you were real. I'm real when it's useful.
Ever since Marvel Studios began their series of superhero movies that shared a connected universe, DC Comics, their most prominent rival, has coveted the same for their characters. Both companies have copied one another since their beginning, so it really wasn't much of a surprise, but because of DC's late start, they essentially took a shortcut in releasing a group hero movie, Batman vs. Superman, after only establishing one in a solo film, Man of Steel. Needless to say, Batman vs. Superman was not well received, and though I actually liked it, I can understand why. It suffered from the same problem a lot of their recent releases have. The tones have just been too dark. For fantastical stories about aliens, gods, monsters, and people with superpowers, the DC movies for the most part have taken themselves a little too seriously. Wonder Woman, which has been by far the best received DC movie, maintained a sense of humor and optimism, and it seems like Warner Bros. Studios have continued on that path for Justice League. Because of that lighter tone shift, while watching the film, I was reminded of the animated DC hero movies as well as the animated TV series of the same name. Those stories always maintain a good balance of having high stakes, interesting plot lines, and overall delivering fun throughout the watch. I think the movie succeeds in emulating that feeling because the characters this time around, as dangerous as the situations get, still seem like they're having fun. Ben Affleck's Batman, who was mostly paranoid and stressed in Batman vs. Superman, almost seemed like a completely different person this time around. He regularly made snide comments and had funny, awkward moments with more than just Alfred, and even after almost getting killed.
Probably more or less.
He said no.
He said no.
It felt natural that the other characters would eventually follow him based on his charisma and demeanor. Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman maintained the level of awesomeness she showcased in her solo film, which I think seriously did her character a favor in this movie. With the exception of Superman, no other characters have had as much development in this universe, so while there wasn't time to get too deep, most of the new heroes still managed to remain just as interesting. Aquaman, played by Jason Momoa, has for years routinely been the butt of jokes, due to his power set. While the movie did embrace some of that, it also legitimately made him seem cool and powerful. Despite being his first appearance ever, his origins were explained decently without too much of an exposition dump. The Flash, played by Ezra Miller, is probably my favorite. While his socially awkward behavior wasn't what I was used to seeing from the character, it was always funny, and in that way, he did stay true to the character's class clown reputation. I also think the best visual effects in the movie belong to his scenes, even if his actual speed skater-esque running stride looks really odd. Cyborg, played by Ray Fisher, unfortunately sits at the bottom when being compared to the rest of the heroes. It's not that Cyborg's portrayal is bad, but it is substantially weaker than the rest. His character is the only one I feel suffered from not having a solo film, as his angst and confusion for being turned into a half machine seemed hastily stuffed into all of his early scenes, along with his struggle to learn what he's now capable of. He was definitely essential to the team as far as the plot was concerned, but it routinely left him standing or sitting in place, fussing with machinery, while everyone else was flying around doing their thing. While the characters were the heart of the movie, the overall story seemed genuinely interesting. The threat that brought the world's strongest heroes together never seemed trivial, and it really required all parties involved to overcome. The framework has now been laid out for future Justice League films, and it even goes the extra mile to show you what you can expect from the bad guys as well. It's clear that something has changed within Warner Bros. Concerning these movies. This obsession with chasing Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight finally seems to have passed, and the characters can start to come into their own going forward. Justice League was a really good movie, and I think it managed this not by copying Marvel and adopting a lighter tone, but by being true to itself and its characters who aren't dark, tormented seekers of justice all the time, just some of the time. So, have you gone to see Justice League? Do you think DC got it right finally, or is there more work to be done? Let us know. We're listening.